We are discussing today India's maritime future, setting new sails. Now, nearly every one of us has had a first-hand feel of what roads and highways feel like. Mr. Mahajan here has had a not very pleasant experience at NH48 not too long ago. But maritime sector, shipping, ports, don't have that kind of touch and feel. But just to set a context, 95% of our EXIM trade in terms of volume and 70% in terms of value happens through maritime transport. A lot of which, not all of it, but a lot of it is under the shadow of all the Trump tariffs and the global uncertainties that we face right now. So I'd like to start the discussion with Captain Singh. As you operate in all countries, what has been your experience of how disrupted the maritime economy is right now, and how are you preparing to go, beyond firefighting for the long term?
Thank you, Ruchika. I would not call it disruptive, but I would call it a change scenario. And shipping as a sector has been very adept at handling changes. So we as a shipping company, we are looking at all these change geopolitical scenarios and adapting ourselves to work around these change situation and support the shipping industry as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Singh, for that. Would you like to share your thoughts on the same, Mr. Mahajan? On the maritime sector, logistics sector as a whole, because a lot of people have kept their decisions on hold. Exports have got impacted.
So I think I'll speak both on Indian and global context, because we're a global company, we operate in 180 odd countries. If you look at India, I think we operate through a company called Gati, which is express business in India. So we are seeing a lot of demand patterns getting impacted, right? Probably because of a lot of the EXIM trade getting impacted. So from the hinterland to the ports, the good movements we've seen the pattern getting disruptive. And because we do a lot of analytics, so we get a pulse of, how the patterns are trending, right? If you look at globally, again, the sector is badly hit because of, how the situation is globally in terms of the wars going on, very headstrong leaders sitting in very powerful countries, right? So you see that impact, right? You see the vessel movements getting impacted, which increases the cost. Once the cost goes up, the delays happen, consumption becomes unpredictable. Global demands have, as it is, come down. So I think it's kind of a spiral right now in terms of where we stand. It's very difficult to predict. All our prediction engines are really going for a toss because you're not able to feed enough outside stimulus into the system for us to do some prediction on the different trade lanes where we operate. So things are, we're hoping it'll get positive. Yeah.
Hoping things will. Well, one positive thing that had happened was the World Bank's logistics index had increased India's rank to 38th spot. What is it that you see happening in terms of improvements to this sector on ground? Does this ranking do justice to what we've achieved and way forward? Yeah, let's start with you, and I would like to get Captain Singh on the same question.
No, I think the Gati Shakti program that was launched, right? We see an impact of that on the Indian logistics. So I come from another company called Safe Express earlier, used to handle their group companies. So we see a massive transformation, right? With e-way bill, with GST coming in, how the whole good movements happen on the road. Air in India is still controlled by the private airlines. You don't have logistic, planes that are flying here, other than, I think, Blue Dart and one or two companies that do that. So there's a massive change, I think, from the program itself. You expect, from almost a 6x capital infusion by the government from, 20 in the last 10 years, right? So that itself, you could see that on the ground as As citizens also we see that, how the highways are shaping. We also do a business called CFS, which is container freight stations. We operate 7 container freight stations in India. And we are seeing a lot of infrastructure, impact there, right? So, which is positive. But if I look at not just that, but the technology itself, I think being a part of a lot of the startup ecosystems in India, India is doing wonderful in that space. The only problem that we see is when it comes to scaling it, the startups have to go out of India. So that, I think, is a problem, right? Because people are willing to experiment, logistics, industry and per se, or supply chain, FMCGs. But when it comes to really investing money and giving big contracts, it becomes a problem. So you would see these startups going to Dubai, UAE, China, US. So I think that ecosystem needs to be nurtured. But in terms of the overall impact on the overall infrastructure, it's a massive progress that we have made.
What do you think, Captain Singh, in terms of the turnaround times of ships? You must be seeing this firsthand. What is the scope to improve and how do we do it?
Yeah, there is already a lot of improvement evident in the industry. Recently, I saw in the news that the turnaround in the time in the port has significantly improved. Yeah. And there was a comparison table given comparing our position with other ports in the world. And with all these private ports coming and the government ports becoming more and more efficient, our turnaround time has significantly improved. We are a shipping company, and what we do is that we just adjust ourselves to these changes. So basically, while on the sea side, we are deploying bigger vessels on the longer route, and we are building more and more bigger vessels for the containers. We are also looking at the regional businesses by deploying smaller feeder ships so that we can gain from this logistics uptick in the country. Now, we are one of the world's largest companies, shipping companies. We have about 900 odd ships which we run. But our logistic business was much smaller, say 5 years, 10 years back. Mitsui USK Lines has taken a conscious decision to concentrate on the logistics infrastructure business. So while in order to get into this sector, we are looking at those areas which can augment our shipping business. So we are looking at businesses where we could have large areas for the car carrier business, where we could do several value additions before the cars get shipped on our ship through our ships. And then we are looking at warehouses and dark stores, and also these are some of the areas where Mitsui USK Lines, even though being a shipping company, wants to get into logistics so that they can change their businesses from these cyclic industries to those areas which can give stable profit over the next 10 years, 20 years. So this is how we have been transforming ourselves from a shipping company to a social infrastructure company.
To a logistics company, really.
Yeah, but logistics for us, it comes under the banner of social infrastructure.
Social infrastructure.
Yeah.
Are there any lessons for the Indian shipping industry there, you think?
So, if we look at the Indian shipping industry, most of the shipping industry companies are predominantly in shipping. For if we look at our competitors, so they are large shipping companies as such, and then we have very large logistic company like Mr. Mahajan's company. So in India, the businesses are like, there are logistic companies, there are shipping companies, but MOL is trying to somehow integrate logistics as well as its core shipping businesses together.
The new coastal shipping law has also been passed. What do you think we should do to take advantage of what this law enables now, movement of ships from one port to the other on the coastline of India? What should we do? We'd like to get both your opinions on this, actually.
So this is very encouraging for a company like Mitsui USK, and we are here in this country. We know the potential of India having a long coastline, and I have been a seafarer with the government company for 15 years, early part of my career, and I have done all these coastal passages. So then working in Mitsui Osuke Lines, I could kind of work with them and partner with them for this kind of businesses what India wants to pursue right now. And to take this forward, in 2021, we established a local shipping company. That time it was called as Sakura Energy Transport Private Limited. Now the name has been changed to MOL India. And we have 10 ships registered in Mumbai and 3 ships registered in GIFT City. So these ships are doing part international voyages and part coastal voyages. So in a way, even though the support has come from the government right now, but we have started from 2021 deploying our ships for coastal as well as the international businesses. So
What do you think, Mr. Mahajan, from the logistics point of view, what kind of an enabler this will be for our maritime sector?
So I think so Amit's business, we have no intention of getting into that business of owning shipping lines. I think by design we're a satellite company. So if you look at Gati, we don't own a single truck, right? It's all a captive fleet, but it's all an asset-light model. If you look at EQ Worldwide, which is our global, NVOCC business, we work with, companies like that of Amit, and we kind of ensure that we're able to move goods from A to B by using technology as the play. So for us, I think as an organization, we want to be, a very tech-enabled organization. And for that, I think the policy that has come will obviously help India per se, because a lot of the business that we move out of India, right now there are a lot of problems when it comes to moving goods, right? Because of how the trade lanes are there in the. So we operate about 2,600 trade lanes, which means from point A to point B. So we might be moving a vessel from, say, his vessel goes from Singapore to, say, Los Angeles. But then it has a lot of touch points as well. Sometimes we have to offload the goods here and there. I think with India having more direct trade lanes coming out, it would definitely have a positive impact for our exports, for EXIM as a whole.
You're doing a lot of automation as well and a lot of AI adoption in logistics. Is that something you see Indian companies doing more rapidly? We are known for our tech adoption. And probably Captain Singh can also comment on what kind of tech adoption are you seeing in your company?
So we have a logistic company in India. It's called as MOL Logistics Private Limited, and they become a part of the larger MOL Logistics, which is doing logistic businesses several areas like China and Asia and other parts of Asia. So the business is small right now in India, but we are trying to scale it up. And this scaling up is by association with our stakeholders and partners who are there in other parts of the globe. For example, there are many Japanese companies who want to scale up their businesses in India. And because they have associations with MOL in logistic business in other parts of the world, they want MOL to partner them in this growth story, in their growth story in India. So we become like the first stop for them, and they come on and they want us to help them in the logistics business in the country, so that we can become their partners. They want to distribute throughout India, and they are looking at our support so that we can help them scale up their businesses in India, which is quite a kind of a motivation for us.
But on technology and AI, Mr. Mahajan, what is the kind of action that we are seeing? And earlier, in our earlier conversation, you were talking about how companies are still sitting on the fence about adopting artificial intelligence into their solutions, etc. So
I'll give you a brief history, right? Because coming from a core consulting company, a decade and a half with IBM, working with global MNCs, mostly Fortune 20 companies. It was a very different game when I switched sides. So when I joined this company, about 8-10 years back, not the current one, so they were doing massive movement of goods, about 30,000 shipments a day. Every shipment could have on an average 100 packets because it's B2B by design. So most of the operations were on paper. So how goods are unloaded, you're just crossing it out, right? So it took 2 years to kind of build a whole digital ecosystem from them, from the pickup point to the end delivery. And in between, it was not easy because GST happened, and then e-way bill happened, and we had to directly integrate with NIC. We're the first company to integrate with NIC portals directly. Otherwise, everyone's were doing it through KPMGs of the world, right? So that was the state of India, and this is one of the biggest company now in Express, right? But all of them knew that tech is the enabler. Tech is going to give us the next, growth. When I joined them, they were X. When I left, they were 3X in 5 years. The same story here. If you look at AI, now how the tech has changed is also kind of remarkable, right? The journey. And I believe in the next 5 years, probably the ERPs of the world in logistics will become dead, right? So AI itself, if you look, India is number 3 in the world on AI adoption. We're just like 2 points behind China. US being number 1, then India, then China, then India, then Germany. So I think there is a sense of within the industry, within the entrepreneurs, that this is the next big thing. And there is a lot of adoption of that, even in our systems now.
We've talked of challenges with respect to tech as well as geopolitical uncertainties. One of the things I'd like to get your thoughts on is about the issue around the deep sea cables, the data cables. There is no international law that is governing them, and in India, most of it is 80% of it is concentrated in Mumbai. If there is a big risk of maritime failure there, how do we safeguard ourselves for a scenario like that?
So one way to safeguard our interest in protecting and these kind of maritime cables is, one is proper monitoring, which I believe is the government is already doing through Indian Coast Guard, and also that nobody comes and anchors and damages that cable, which has happened a couple of times in Europe. But the other way is that in case such kind of incident happens, how do we control the situation? So one idea is to have a cable repair ship deployed always on one on the east coast and one on the west coast, so that in case of such kind of damage to the cable, these repairs can be done very quickly, because unlike the tankers and the bulk carriers, such kind of cable repair ships are not available on demand. And there are not many ships which you could just go and get them, and it's time taking, and such kind of vessels are very scarce. So what government can think of is to have these 2 vessels kept on standby always, so that they can use it for new cable laying. For example, a local company wants to lay cable, so your government already has a vessel, and they can rent it out to that company to lay the cable. But if there is such kind of an emergency of a cable damage, that same vessel can be recalled and immediately repairs can be done. And after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, again it would go to the normal routine. If not 2, then maybe 1, because these cable ships are very expensive.
Mr. Mahajan, any thoughts on this?
I think Amit kind of covered it. He would know more than me. But I think if I correlate it with technology, we have something called redundancy that we create in all our systems, which is called, we also call it BCP, or business continuity planning, where for every server or a link that's working, we always have a failover, right? So maybe failover could be where you have some redundant links that are running, and then obviously some real solid infrastructure to kind of take care of situations like that.
We have a very few minutes left for this session. No, that clock is misleading. In just 1 minute, can you sum up what should be India's focus in the short term towards building a stronger maritime future for ourselves, towards reaching our whole goal of Viksit Bharat? Captain Singh and Mr. Mahajan, both of you. Just in 1 minute, can you?
Yeah, the government is very, very interested to build our maritime interest. So the government has brought a maritime fund. They are very supportive. They want shipbuilding to happen. We have lagged down for like 2 decades, but now the time has come that in next 15, 20 years, we have to significantly increase our market share in shipbuilding. So, and the government is very supportive. So what we require is to have some kind of a eco center, one for shipbuilding and second for enhancing the use of Indian flagged vessels, Indian flagged tankers, gas carriers, so that most of our cargoes, they come on Indian flagged vessels. This is what I should say.
Focus on the Indian flagged vessel.
So I think in my view, if we could execute Gati Shakti by 2030, that should do the trick for us to a large extent, because if you look at the our spend of logistics on GDP, it's as percentage of GDP, it's about 14-15%. By 2030, the projection is 8%. Also by 2030, we expect the logistics sector itself to grow by $100 billion, right? So that is possible only if we have world-class infrastructure. I heard the panelists before. We feel we're doing enough, but if you look at the world around you, we are not really moving it at the pace we need to move. So I think if government could just kind of push that. On the tech side, I would say that we still don't have any global platforms other than few government initiatives that have grown out of India. 1.4 billion people. If the reason why probably I wanted to stay in India was because if we can build tech for here, it's bigger than few countries put together. So that scalability and the kind of knowledge that you get when you build systems of that scale, we are not taking it out to the outside world. So probably a push there, maybe a logistics platform built out of India would be a sense of pride for all of us. Yeah.
Absolutely. On that note, I'd like to thank